Hello and welcome to this episode of WorldAnvil.com. Well, today we're looking at items. Now, this is a particularly interesting template as it says there, everyday use, coins, tools, weapons, armor, from the most common to the unique. Now, when we go into items, there are a lot of different options that come up for this particular template that I particularly like. Again, though, how do you answer these questions? Well, for me, it boils down to an equation. That's right. Who thought mathematics would be involved? But the equation is simply function plus intention equals form. So function plus intention equals form. So what is its function? What is the function of the object? What does it do? This is a hammer, hence it is hammer shaped. But intention is going to determine what kind of hammer it is. Now, I know from very brief brushes with carpentry that you get different types of hammers. You get hook hammers, ball peen hammers, square hammers, heavy hammers, rubber hammers, hard hammers, 10-pound hammers, so many different types of hammers. What is different? Their function is to hit stuff hard. Well, it depends. So the intention for some hammers is to be intimidatory, in which case they might have fins or spikes on them that are going to make that hammer really hit really hard, as well as be very intimidating. They might simply have a function of removing a nail from a wall, in which case it might have a hook at the back in order to do that. So the form, the thing that we are describing, that we're filling into this template, is really determined by that function plus intention. Now, the intention part is the part that you really should be looking at. Is its intention practical? Is it decorative? Is it demonstrative? In other words, it shows us what it's going to do, or it intimidates us into thinking that. I don't think that you will ever find let's say, a torturer whose equipment looks nice and flowery. Maybe that would be a really weird kind of evil, but generally speaking, your tongue pliers, your nail twisters, all those kinds of things will be pointed and jagged and possibly grime covered. I'm fairly certain that the torturers spend a lot of time getting their instruments to look like they're grime covered. Now, having tried to do that in the film industry, I can assure you it takes a lot of effort to make that grime look particularly good and as if it's the remains of previous victims, which is what the torturer arguably would want their tools to look like. So the intention is what you should focus on when you're talking about items. And once you've got the intention as well as its function, you can then describe it and then you can start working it out. Now, one of the interesting little options that we have is the price. Now, I find that particularly useful, especially if you're using World Anvil for role-playing purposes, in which case you can use that there to indicate how much it's going to cost to purchase or to produce or to sell potentially as well. These can be really handy, especially when players are the kinds who like to haggle and try and negotiate value and price around certain things. So that's a really useful tool to fill in there. Really useful space to use. And we've got inner workings, mechanics, if it's clockwork, that kind of thing. Again, very useful. Again, driven by the intention and by the function. If you look at the giant head that the Wizard of Oz used, he had lots of levers and pulleys and things on the inside, which really gave away from the mystique and the awe that it had in front. So what's it like behind? You've then got construction tab where you've got materials, the tooling, manufacturing process, how's it done. If we look at, say, the latest Guardians of the Galaxy movie, which was Guardians of the Galaxy, was it Guardians of the Galaxy or Infinity War? I get confused. Infinity War, yes, Infinity War, sorry, whatever. If we look at the latest Marvel Infinity War, the first one that shattered our worlds, there was an entire function, form, intention and manufacturing process built into that story. How that device that was manufactured, I don't think we need to worry about spoilers at this point in time, but you never know. The device that was constructed had this entire intricate subplot of how the whole process had to get started, and of course that linked it to a whole bunch of other objects as well, which opens up all kinds of fan theories. So just by filling in this information, your items suddenly take on a world of their own where they've got these distinctive, very, very useful, but also very descriptive options just from that little equation, function plus intention equals form. Until next time, light up the forge!